I wonder what Scylaac is going to bring. I really wonder what he's going to bring. He's probably going to start off with a stress team, to be honest. He's probably going to start off with a stress team so he isn't just completely like, you know, if he wins with the helicopter right now, he will be forced to play one of these two stress teams, so Serge could just adapt totally if something like that was to happen. So yeah, he is going to play the stress team, and Serge is going to play the WD, so let's just stop this music, let's pop this right up. I think it's too loud. Okay, now it's a bit better. It's a bit less loud. So we are back, and it looks like Scylaac is playing kind of a similar team as what I was playing just a few minutes ago, except that Flagellant does not have Redeem. That Flagellant has the Rain of Sorrows and the Hemlock, so that is potentially very, very good for Sergi. However, he put his Abomination in position 2 for some unknown reason, so that is going to be quite bad because the Abomination is just gonna go to position 4. Or he would had he been slammed, but he actually manages to resist that slam, and now he gets to just go for a nice stunning blow on the enemy Flagellant, preventing that very high pressure Rain of Sorrows. So a critical move resist right there for that Abomination, really important. That's going to be a Demon's pull, but even if there is a pull, which there isn't, just a lot of move resist for Sergi right now, even with crits. Lots of move resist. That was a 140% move chance. Is he gonna go for a come hither right here? Yeah, he is. He is gonna go for a come hither, even though he does have the Heartseeker and there's a stunned Flagellant in position 1. But he is gonna go for the come hither, and he is probably just gonna get a very good sniper shot into that occultist. We have to keep in mind though that Scylaac does get to go first. So that means that by the start of next round he can just heal whatever character he wants to heal. But he is in a very precarious position at the moment, because if he does go Defender, there is just going to be a slam coming down immediately on that occultist, most likely, you have to believe. Yeah, honestly, I feel like Sergi could have played this entirely different, you know. He could have just gone for a slam on the Flagellant, just knocking him back to position 3, then shooting him and then gone for a finish him, killing the Flagellant immediately. That was always a possibility. He actually decides to shoot through the guard first, not doing enough damage because he also didn't go last with the Arbalist. He was hoping to get a quick crit and then potentially going for a slam there. But right now he needs to focus down on this occultist, just get him out of the match, just get that slam there. Now after he heals manually with that weird reconstruction. You just shoot him again, and then you get him out of the match with a come hitter. That's what Serge has to do right now. Just eliminate that character and then focus back on taking the match. So that is probably going to be a heal. That occultist did get a crit. That occultist did get a crit with the tentacles, so he could heal for a lot more, but he unfortunately for Scylaac, only heals for 2. So there is no way that this Arbalist does not do enough damage, and yeah, she would roll for 41 anyway. So that occultist is not feeling too good, and of course he's still guard broken, so the Man-at-Arms cannot decide to go for a guard right now. Interesting that Man-at-Arms did actually bring the Riposte Shield. So if Sergi was using one of his 2 doggies, that Man-at-Arms could have just gone crazy in terms of riposte, because he does have both teams that aren't this one with doggies with that AoE. That is actually going to be a Manacles instead of a V-Spile. It does go through. That is a very good Manacles actually, because it makes it so Sergi does not have a chance of actually killing that occultist anymore this round, because he did actually use the Arbalist turn, so potentially it would have been better, since he only healed for 2, just to go for a come hitter first. So he could potentially get the death blow with a sniper shot, or maybe with a rake, maybe with something of the likes. So even if he goes for a slam right now, he does not have the availability to reach that occultist, no matter what he does anymore. So that means that since Scylaac goes first, he is just going to be able to click his occultist and heal himself potentially back up to full HP, because that is the slot machine that we're looking at right now. The occultist can heal himself for unbelievable amounts of HP. which would obviously be very, very, very bad for Serge. That is going to be a very powerful Rain of Sorrows coming down. Of course, Serge not having a lot of dodge, so the Flagellant doesn't even need to buff up his accuracy. I mean, and he's just gonna go Defender on that Flagellant. Really now, I mean, I'm gonna have to be honest with you. That Flagellant is not looking too happy either. Because, I mean, Serge could potentially, like, now he has to choose between each character, which character he wants to kill, because he can definitely get a kill by round 3. He can definitely get a kill right now, depending on how much the Occultist heals as well. So he heals for 6, so now Serge has 2 options. Either he tries to double down on killing that Occultist, or he just goes for a slam on that Flagellant, knocks him to position 3, shoots him, and then knocks him out with finish him, and then potentially even gets a stun on the Occultist, dropping him to 0. That would be an absolute disaster for Scylaac, but it looks like Serge has other plans. He's just going for a nice sniper shot on that Occultist, dropping him to 0 undoubtedly. And now that Man at Arms has to choose if he wants to guard, if he does want to guard that Occultist, so it feels like Scylaac here is going to have to make a choice, and he's not applying a lot of stress so far. He's having to use his Man at Arms to guard mostly, you know, that's kind of the problem having an Occultist. Even though he can heal for a lot, since he's not actually using regen with the Flagellant, he's not been doing too well. So right now Serge just has to realize that he can, you know, shift his pressure around. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Please don't go for what you're thinking of. Okay, he's gonna go for a risky stun. Alright, alright. Interesting. That was a 65% chance of actually working. So that could have very well failed, but that does mean that he is gonna get the death blow on that Occultist, but honestly, he had the chance of just knocking that Flagellant out. Even if he didn't do enough damage with the Rage or a Slam, as the Abomination, a stunning blow would do enough damage to just make that Flagellant drop to 0 and then just kill him with the Bounty Hunter. But yeah, Serge just wanted that Occultist out of the match, which is also very important, because no Occultist, no healing, right? No Occultist, no healing. This stun right here is very unlikely to work. Yeah, very unlikely, and it is going to open up the healing for that Flagellant. But this is a very unusual outcome for a situation like this. I mean, normally you'd see that, like, Scylaac should be winning this completely, but it's not looking too good for him, even though he didn't get either of his characters killed by round 1 or 2. So this is just not looking too great. Of course, Serge has been getting quite lucky with his stuns. He got, I believe, 2 85% stuns on that Flagellant so far, as well as a 65 on that Man at Arms. So that has definitely been quite good for Serge. It looks like he has definitely improved at playing his at his WD. Even though he decided to put the Abomination in second, it turned out quite well for him. You just have to believe right now that he's probably just going to flare that stun away, because he does have more actions, so a flare right now definitely feels quite good. He might go for that, or he might just not, and might just try to mark a character and then just finish him, something of the likes, you know. He has a lot of options right now. But a flare right now has a lot of value. It has a lot of value. Of course, the Arbalest could just pass, because she goes Afflicted now, she goes Hopeless. And she decides to move forward, which is also quite bad. Serge just reacts immediately, just decides to bola. You shouldn't do that, you have 30 seconds to think. You know, that wasn't like a decision that he had already made. That was like a complete reaction, just, okay, I move forward, okay, go back. You know, just go back immediately. You don't have to do that. You can wait and see how much time you have, you know, you can think over your decisions, because he had a lot of decisions with that Arbalest, and he decided to do a bola for 2 to 3 damage, and you know, that didn't really do too much. That really didn't do too much at all. That is going to be an Exsanguinate doing a lot of damage onto that Abomination, so that Abom is not feeling too good anymore. And Scylaac is still doing reasonably well. Emphasis on reasonably. He's not doing too well, he's doing reasonably well. That is going to be a very powerful finish him coming through right there. You're probably just going to see a Manacles. Yeah, that's the Manacles coming through. So that Abomination is going to be dropping to 0. And Scylaac, if he wants to save that Abomination, he is going to be forced to have to use a guard right here. And even if he uses a guard, that Abomination is still gonna be stunned once he acts, so... I mean, Serge has two ways of breaking that guard. He can even bypass the guard and just go caltrips, which he probably won't do because the Abomination will have 40% protection, or at least 30% protection. I think he does not have the Clasp of the Beast, but yeah, there is going to be a defender coming through. And now Scylaac just has to hope that he manages to resist some of these stuns. That's really what he has to hope for, because if he manages to resist these stuns, like 2 of them, he's doing just fine. But since he doesn't, yeah, this is quite poor. This is quite poor for Scylaac, because that Abomination is just going to be gone. He is gonna be gone with 2 transformations, but you just have to believe that his team probably didn't do enough. I mean, that Crusader is feeling just fine, honestly. And the backline is feeling kind of poor, but it's not feeling like I'm about to die poor. It's, you know, it's kind of damaged, but there's only 1 affliction, and I don't believe there is like unreal amounts of horror on that Arbalest anymore. So she's taking 18, which is big, but it's not the worst. She is gonna go for a good heal on that Abomination, and now he's either gonna go for a Manacles or gonna go for a Slam, most likely. So that's just gonna be a Manacles on that Flagellant. So round 6, Scylaac is not gonna be able to act. So you kind of have to believe that between the Rage right now going onto that Flagellant, as well as a stunning blow, this Flagellant of Scylaac is probably not gonna feel too good. However, even if this is a W for Serge, keep in mind that he's going to be forced to play one of his AoE stress teams next. So Scylaac can just, I mean, Scylaac can double down, just riposte, just go crazy with Numbing Incense, like all that kind of stuff. He can go counter picks Royale after this. So yeah, he decides to just do a knockback, even though he only had a 60% chance of actually doing that. But right now, after a sniper shot and just a nice finish him, that Flagellant is not feeling too good. And not feeling too good, I mean, probably gone. Probably gone. That Man at Arms is probably not gonna be stunned, but you just have to believe that this might be over for Scylaac, because that's just gonna be a kill. And now it's a 4v1, and this Man at Arms simply cannot win at this point. So yeah, Scylac's overall strategy, did not function too well against Serge's team. So that is going to be win number 1 for Serge. Oh, I do believe Sis showed up. Hang on a second. Let me just change to the image again. Let me send him the Twitch stream once more. Yeah, we are just getting ready for the players to start. Okay, let's look at their teams once again. Let's get the Hamlet music going while we wait for them to make their decisions. There's probably going to be a lot of decision making right now. So let's just undo that. Let's go ahead and look at their teams once again. Let's go into his stream. He's hopefully not playing just yet. I'd still like to have a look at the teams, but... So, in terms of Serge's teams, he did win that match, so we are gonna see Deus Volt. You know, the team DE is gonna be gone, so right now he's gonna have to choose between both AoE teams. So that is not ideal for Serge, to say the very least, but he is 1-0 against Scylaac, so that's quite good. That's quite good for him. So he's gonna have pretty much quite a hard time, because you can already imagine, like, riposte trinket, riposte trinket, riposte trinket, riposte trinket, right? As well as, you know, numbing instance. You can already imagine, because Serge is gonna be playing with the AoE stress, so it's gonna be quite rough for him. Quite rough. Alright. So it looks like they are still just preparing. Let's have a look at the brackets once more. So this is going to be between Scylaac and Serge. This is a best of 3. Only the finals is going to be best of 5. So after they finish their best of 3, it's going to be myself against Sparky. We've both won 2 matches so far, so we are just going to finish that semifinals, and then potentially one of us is going to meet whoever wins this this best of 3 at the grand finals. So we only have to wait for them to finish setting up. There's probably going to be a lot of setting up from both players coming down right now. Both Scylaac and Serge. Are they going to the match yet? Oh, I think they are. I think they are going to the match. Let's turn the helmet music off once more and let's get straight into it. So here they are. Here they are. So yeah, Scylaac obviously still going with that Gauntlet of Absolution. And it looks like it is Serge that actually brings the numbing incense on that flagellant. So you can just imagine this flagellant right now is absolutely immune to stress. So that flagellant is never getting stressed. Never, ever, ever. This Abomination is just going to be transforming, going for a slam on the enemy flagellant. Having that trinket, the Shattered Padlock, only gives him 15% extra chance of getting a slam. So typically I would very much enjoy using the net instead, which also gives you 6 accuracy and a bit better slam chance, but he goes for quite a reasonable play. Of course, that Flagellant is having the Reign of Sorrow, so he's going to be doing unbelievable amounts of DOT to Serge's backline, so he's definitely going to have to watch out for that. But in terms of Scylac's picks, it looks like he did pick the Occultist and not the other character which he had, which I believe was the Occultist. I mean, no, he does have the Occultist now. I believe his other character was probably the Grave Robber, I think. So picking the Occultist definitely gives him more stress output, which is quite nice. So Serge's Man-at-Arms is still just using the Pit Fighter's Helm and that Irion. Of course, going for a bolster right now, you know, reducing the stress output of Scylaac overall, as well as giving him an extra 10 dodge, which could come in very, very handy, especially depending on what kind of setup this doggy has. Do you believe that Serge maybe just thought that he was going against a stress team and decided to bring like the double anti-stress on his doggy, like the Brass Bugle and the Shattered Toy? Wouldn't that be a joy to see? Wouldn't that be a joy to see? So it looks like Serge's Flagellant is just going to be doubling down on protecting that doggy with the Reclaim, which is definitely an idea because the doggy is the heart of the team. As long as he keeps that Houndsary rolling, you pretty much win every match. But that is going to come at the sacrifice of, you know, not using a punish either on the enemy Flagellant or on the enemy Man-at-Arms. So that is quite an interesting idea. That's going to be another bolster coming. So I don't believe that this doggy has the command buff, so he's not going to be hitting a lot of those Hatsaris. He is going to be missing one. Only doing 13 stress because of that bolster, instead of doing 15 to each character. So slowly but surely, he is still going to be able to stress out Scylaac, because 13 stress per hit is still a lot, and the crit is going to hit for like 23 on each character. He can do like 100 plus stress with those crits. So there is going to be a slam. Serge's Flagellant does get slammed this time, even though Scylaac didn't. So it's going to be another slam, and Scylaac gets to resist once again. You just have to believe that this is quite unfortunate for Serge. He's tried 2 slams, both with a 75% chance, and both have failed. And Scylaac just gets his first slam, like out of the blue. That is quite unfortunate. That's just going to be a Beast File being dropped as well, so the doggy is going to have to walk straight into a Riposte right now if he does want to go for that Hansari. Of course, the Abomination Riposte is very volatile, so it can either do a small amount of damage or a huge amount of damage, depending on whether he's gotten a few crits or if he has a few damage buffs. He still has the damage buff from Transformation, a grand total of extra 25% damage, so we're gonna have to guess that the Riposte would be doing like about 5, 6, 7, something like that, maybe a 9 if he crits. Getting crit Riposte right now as that doggy would feel terrible, because he's already taking the stress from the tentacles, he's already taking the DOT from the Flagellant, and now taking a Riposte on top. That would be horrible. But he does actually manage to dodge that tentacles. That is a very good outcome for Serge right there, dodging the tentacles. I don't believe that that Scylaac has like 2 accuracy trinkets on his Occultist. He probably only has like the Fleshbound Grimoire and then something else a bit different. I haven't been able to look at their trinkets, honestly, which is quite sad, but oh well. It looks like that Abomination does have the Repulse Trinket. He does have the Spike Chain, so his Repulse is very likely going to be blighting, as well as doing a lot of damage. A lot and a lot of damage. And there, oh, there's going to be 2 Repulse. Does that Man-at-Arms actually have the Repulse Shield? If he doesn't have the Repulse Shield, you can pretty much just ignore it, but... Ouch. 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 That is 34 stress, so... The Abomination did not get a crit, but the Man-at-Arms most definitely did get a crit. And this is just... This is just horrendous. Like, Serge just went forward with the Hound and got impaled by 2 enemies at the same time. He is now at death's door. He might suffer an immediate death blow, but Scylaac prefers to just heal with his flagellant, which is honestly fine at this point. But that doggy, 34 stress added on. Is he gonna go for another Hound Sari? Okay, he does go Paranoid. That's giving him an extra 10 dodge. That is quite good. If he goes for another Hound Sari right now, he might just be gone, because one of the repulses will drop him to 0, the other will just kill him. So Serge feeling paralyzed here, because his Houndmaster is just in an extremely precarious situation. Of course, Scylaac noticing that, you know, Serge would... Oh no, death blow. And that's a surrender from Serge. So this is just what happens when you put 2 stress teams AoE together and you get rid of both your damage teams between the ban and the first match. So just an absolute disaster for Serge, and his doggy just dying from the double repulse like this. Absolute traps with short. That Abomination Man-at-Arms just holding the line. Like, what a brutal repulse. What a brutal way to lose the match as the doggy right there. So that is going to be Scylaac's team with the Occultist gone. So very good pick by Scylaac. Very good pick to go for the Occultist, because he has a lot of stress output. He has pretty much doggy levels of stress output, except focused on the enemy backline. So extremely well played by Scylaac right there to pick that character. So he does still have the Halo comp open, but he might just go for the pretty much same strategy again. And Serge is just gonna have to, well, he's gonna have to invent something, because if he doesn't invent some kind of win condition here, he's gonna have a very, very, very hard time. Let's just put the waiting image on for just a second. So a very nice image, the Butcher Circus Spring Invitational. Let's get, well, we do have the background music, so that's perfectly fine right now. Yeah, we are just waiting for both players to get ready, and after that we will be ready to go for the last match of their best of 3. So hopefully Serge has something in store for us, and hopefully Scylaac can, you know, either keep the same strategy or give it a better twist. So it looks like they are going into the match right now. So let's change scenes once more, and here we go. Here we go. So, Serge is using the same team, still deciding to use only one of the AoE characters, and it looks like he hasn't changed his strategy too much. He still wants to go with the Hound Sari as that doggy. I was expecting maybe like going double dodge with the Houndmaster and just spamming our dog, kind of like, you know, just disregarding the Hound Sari essentially for quite a while. But what he decides to do is actually just go with double slam trinkets just to knock that flagellant back. So it looks like his plan is going to be to just keep that flagellant in the back, which is definitely not a bad idea. But sacrificing the Wretch's Cloak for it is quite risky. Quite risky. And he actually has given his flagellant the exotic snuff, so that's actually pretty good play, you know, knowing that he would for sure go against an Abomination, which would probably want to slam him. That was quite good. And of course this match is going to work quite different, because if that Abomination does want to go slam, he puts himself in position 1. He definitely puts himself in position 1. Of course the Flash one can still just move back, but that is a very important crit from that Man at Arms, because what that's going to mean is, oh no. Oh, here we go. Here we go again. Crit number 1, crit number 2. So this Man at Arms right now, he's taking no stress. He's taking minus 66% stress, and that is a grand total of 18 damage done to that Houndmaster, as well as 5 bleed on top of that. So that doggy is feeling terrible. Somehow Serge still managed to hit all characters in Scylax's team and hit a crit as well. So that wasn't like too bad of an outcome in terms of offense, but for that Houndmaster, oh jeez, he's not feeling too good. Now that Panic Darts is going to be dropped on the Man at Arms. That is kind of the fate of the Man at Arms in stress versus stress matchups, you know. The Grave Robber just drops Panic Darts on him, and after a while he just goes bye bye. that's kind of what happens with flat ones, but with Man at Arms, I mean. But yeah, we are just gonna see a Reclaim coming down, still trying to buckle down on healing that doggy. He's probably gonna be spamming that Reclaim over and over again, then potentially in redeem. So he really needs to keep that Houndsary going if he wants to do enough damage. Oh no! Oh no, Scylaac, how many crits do you want? How many crits do you want? Serge, oh jeez. This just has to feel terrible for Serge, because he surrendered last match, and now he goes into this one, he's getting horrible RNG. Just crit number 1, crit number 2, crit number 3. Scylaac getting very fortunate with his RNG rolls. Of course, the Abomination can't de-transform go for a Bile right now, because he is going to be taking that Man at Arms repulse to the face, but if he doesn't do that right now, what you have to imagine is that Abomination is going to de-transform and go for a Bile himself. And that Bile, considering that he did get the crit with the slam, no, I mean crit with the rage, is going to do a bunch of damage. That repulse that he has right now is going to do a bunch of damage, so that doggy cannot go Houndsary. He absolutely cannot go Houndsary. One repulse is going to drop him to 0, the other repulse is going to kill him pretty much. So yeah, this is going to be a Beast File doing decent amount of damage, actually activating the Blight onto that Abomination of Serge. Of course, I do believe Scylaax's Abomination does have that spike chain, so it makes his overall human capabilities a lot better, both in terms of stunning, range skills damaged, and as well as Blight chance. So that is quite poor, and you can see that Bello doing 5 damage to the Man at Arms. Every time the Man at Arms gets a crit, he takes minus 33% stress for a reasonable amount of time. I believe it's like 3 turns actually. So that buff can last. So that's the only character that does like minus stress taken after getting a crit. Man at Arms is definitely a very good character. Now he just gets to drop a bolster as well. Not dropping a command, so there is a chance that the doggy actually manages to repulse actually manages to dodge one of those 2 repulses. But going for a chance like that, it's very chancy to say the least. It's very chancy. Does he want to go for it? He did not bring the Hound's Rush, so he cannot just, you know, try to play it a little bit safer, but this Houndmaster just feels absolutely paralyzed. He cannot do stress. I mean, Hound's Rush is a garbage ability for a stress Houndmaster. It does very mediocre amounts of damage. It does the same amount of bleed as Hound's Harry, but only to one character, and it does 0 stress. It's not like it does like 12 stress but to one character or something. It does absolutely 0 stress. It's just a very, very bad ability if you have a Houndmaster. And you are, you know, going stress, and you want to do stress, but you can't go Hound's Harry because there's just too many riposts and they're way too strong. So even though Scylaac does not have the Hireman, which is the character that we usually associate with like the 21 riposte crits, the Man at Arms with the Spiked Shield is more than enough to fill in that role. And not to mention that Abomination is quite powerful as well in terms of riposting. It can definitely land a death blow. We are just going to see that Flagellant dropping a Redeem. I was gonna say dropping a redeem again because that's exactly what we saw last match, but no, that is still gonna be the same, the first redeem coming through for this match. However, let's be completely clear here. Serge has one advantage, which is a very old advantage that everyone tends to forget, is that Bellow reduces riposte damage by a lot. So if you can manage to get those Bellow debuffs, eventually those ripostes are going to be tickling. And I mean tickling. Especially if he had something like a Pit Fighter's Helm on his doggy to give him some protection as well. Unfortunately, he did not bring that. But even then, if he stacks a few of these Bellows, those characters of Scylaac could be riposting for much, much less. Which obviously, obviously Serge would very much enjoy. So he has a lot of regen stacked on that doggy, but he just decides to go for more regen. He already had a Reclaim, a Lick Wounds, and now he has another Reclaim stacked, so that doggy is going to be going up to full HP, I believe. There is going to be another Retribution being dropped. No crit this time, so I do believe one of those stress buffs is going to go away. So that's a Hound's Harry. Takes a 10 crit, and then another riposte from the Abomination. So only doing like 15 damage to the Houndmaster. Of course, if those damage debuffs weren't there, the Houndmaster would be at 0 HP right now. So those battle debuffs being very useful at this moment, like just letting the Houndmaster go for a Hound's Harry. Obviously taking a lot of stress, because, well, if the Man-at-Arms crits, he does 10 stress, right? That's the amount of stress that a crit does. It does 10 stress, and then the Abomination obviously does stress with his riposte, does 12, should be doing like 14, or actually should be doing like 13, because he does have the Wretch's Cloak doing a bit more stress, but he also just has that bolster on the doggy, so he's also taking a little less stress. But you know, with each riposte he could be taking like 30 stress potentially. That's kind of what we saw last match. So it's going to be another Beast Smile being dropped. I think that damage crit is going to go away now. Looks like he did get another crit potentially. Looks like he did get another crit. Does that doggy actually heal for enough? Yeah, not to mention that these ripostes aren't just doing direct damage, they're also doing DOT. The Man-at-Arms riposte does like 4 DOT in terms of bleed, maybe 5 if he gets a crit. And the Abomination riposte does 6 blight, and it would do, well, it would do 1 more if he got a crit, so 1 more tick, so it would do like 8 blight if he got a crit as the Abomination as well. So these ripostes like very powerful in terms of adding up DOT as well. Definitely enough of a deterrent from that for that Houndmaster not to spam that Hound's Harry. In terms of stress, that Grave Robber has pretty much been doing her thing for the last 4 rounds. She's somehow been hit a lot of times with the Hound's Harry, which I have no idea how that actually happened. Oh, that's gonna be a crit! He would have healed for 6, but the crit regen is actually wonderful. So he doesn't take that big of a riposte right now. He only takes 7 damage total from both characters. That is very small. That is very small in terms of damage. Those battle debuffs are weighing on those characters, also getting like quite low rolls, so that's just gonna be a nice Hound's Harry coming through. That is very good for Serge. That is very good for Serge. That was a laughable riposte. Absolutely laughable riposte, and I have no idea how he's been able to just keep hitting that Grave Robber, but she's still just doing her own thing. Like, she's been doing her own thing for the past 4 rounds, so that Man-at-Arms is pretty much gone right now because of those panic darts. So we have to see what this Flagellant wants to do right now with his healing. He still has 3 Exsanguinate. Look at those hit chances. Did not go for that. You have the snuff. You have the snuff. You're not even at death's door. Don't go for a move like that. Don't be silly. So yeah, he does not go for one of those 60s, like one of those very unnecessary 60s. Sometimes you just have to close your eyes and go for the 60 with the Exsanguinate, but not this time. Not this time. He did not have to close his eyes and go for a risky play like that. So he just decides to redeem that Abomination, keeping him alive for a while longer. There is going to be a problem here, is that the Abomination is going to de-transform once he reaches 100 stress, so he cannot like permanently just knock that Flagellant down to the back, because he is going to be halted at least for a bit once he does go Afflicted, right? He might be going Afflicted just now. Oh no, not quite. That bolster is definitely helping him in terms of Affliction, but what does he want to do right now? Yeah, he just goes de-transform anyway. And does he want to go for Manacles? That is a 25% chance of getting that stun. And also heals the Flagellant stress by 10, because that's what the Gauntlet of Absolution does. Just such an insane trinket, just an insane trinket. This is the meta we are in right now. This is the Flagellant meta. It's just absolutely brutal what Gauntlet of Absolution can actually do. Of course, neither of them are using the Last Breath color on the Flagellant, which is what I typically use. And neither of them are also using the Crown of Thorns, which could give them a lot of accuracy as well to pair with Gauntlet of Absolution. They're just using different ideas. Of course, Numbing Instance is making Serge's Flagellant completely immune to the stress. Pretty much completely immune. I mean, he's getting healed with Gauntlet of Absolution, as well as taking minus 50% stress total between the Numbing Instance and the Bolster. But that is going to be a dead man at arms. That is in fact going to be a dead man at arms, so he just goes goodbye. That is quite sad that the man at arms is gone for Serge. And that is actually going to be an Affliction because of the stress dealt from the man at arms dying, so that Abomination is going to go Afflicted. Same thing with the Doggy, he is going to go Afflicted as well. Irrational, that's minus 5 dodge, minus 5 accuracy. Not the greatest of Afflictions to get at this point, to be honest. I don't really think he will be able to dodge some of those riposts, but that was a crit for 2. Who did a crit for 2? Was it, no way the Man-at-Arms did a crit for 2. Maybe the Abomination, you know, Bellow debuffs on the Abomination really hurt, so that's probably just what happened there. That Bellow just debuffed the Abomination's damage down to Oblivion. Okay, that is going to be a pass from the Grave Robber. That is actually going to be a pass, so round 1 Affliction. I mean, does Serge have a chance here? It's quite difficult. It's quite difficult. I mean, if you had the extra stress... Oh! He does not get that stun. It was a 30%. You know, not bringing the Wretch's Cloak on his Abomination definitely feels kind of poor here, because he is not going to be doing a lot of stress with that Horror. He's missing out on a grand total of like 8 stress on each character, so that's going to be 32 twice, because he gets transformed twice, so that's a total of 64 stress he's missing out on. And that 64 stress can sometimes be a little more, like if that horror is applied when the character is at death's door, so he's definitely missing out on a lot of stress. Not to mention that the only good way to actually make sure you afflict a Flagellant that is using Gauntlet of Absolution is just applying Horror, because Horror does not get the tick from Gauntlet of Absolution, so essentially, if you do want to afflict a Flagellant of Gauntlet of Absolution, you just have to transform twice with your Abomination. And between a few Houndsary crits, something of the likes, he is going to be afflicted. So, is he just going to transform again and go for another slam? Hits himself for 3, not doing too much. But he might just be going for another slam here. Yes, he is. He just goes for another slam, knocks that Flagellant back to position 3, but he does not have any redeems anymore. Let's be honest here, that Flagellant does not have the Last Breath color to make his survivability a bit superior, and he has used both of his redeems so far, so Serge might just get very lucky here and maybe get a death blow onto that enemy Flash. That is a possibility, but even if he gets that death blow, how is he going to deal with that Man-at-Arms in the front? Because that riposte is definitely still going to hurt. Oh no. Oh no. He gets ticked twice. Stays alive somehow. Does not get the kill on the enemy Flagellant at 20%. Unfortunately does not get the kill. Almost dies with that Houndmaster. He picked him first. Was he trying to go for like wounds? I don't know, but that Irrational Affliction almost killing him on the spot. But, you know, you just have to believe that a Beast Smile right now just gets rid of this Doggy, and that might very well signal the end for Serge. He just decides to go for Retribution instead. Oh, he stays alive. The Doggy stays alive for a little bit at least. Doggy is gonna stay alive for a little bit. Keep in mind that this Flagellant still does not have any accuracy buffs. I mean, he has accuracy debuffs in form of that snuff, And that man-at-arms of Scylaac did actually bring the Rancid Cure-All. Look at that Grave Robber. Where have you seen a Grave Robber with Rancid Cure-All? That is just absolutely insane. When the hell do you see a Grave Robber with Rancid Cure-All? I guess it explains why she's been hit so much. She's just been she doesn't have the monkey spell, so she hasn't been dodging the Hound's Harry from that doggy. That explains why she's afflicted right now. Probably not the best play by Scylaac, but slapping a Rancid Cure on that man-at-arms, definitely a good play, because this Flagellant's pretty much not going to be able to afflict him. That's going to be 0 damage being done, and 1 wasn't enough to just take out that doggy, because he was actually healed for 3 when the Flagellant dropped Death's Door. And of course the Abomination can do 0 damage because of the Flagellant's Gauntlet of Absolution. Oh, that Flagellant's in position 1. You have to get that Deathblow. You have to get that Deathblow. Can you get the Deathblow? He could go for an Exsanguinate. Oh, he has so many decisions to make. Can you imagine if he just waved the Hound's Harry right now and just killed 2 characters? That would just be wonderful. Oh, is that what he's gonna do? He kills 1 character! He actually kills 1 character. Of course, Hound's Harry is not going to be doing any stress or bleed, because that's one of the that's one of the circus mechanics. When you actually go for an ability and get deathblowed while you do it, you do not apply any DOT or horror from it. But oh, there is going to be panic darts. How much stress is that doing? It's actually doing 29. Does his Flagellant have... Oh no, he has the Snuff this time. He has the Snuff, not the Numbing Instance, my bad. Hits himself, stays alive somehow. This Flagellant has taken like... How many Death Door checks was that? 3? I believe 3? Just staying alive with his slightly improved Death Blow resist of 80. 80 base, I mean. It looks like it's gonna be 80 right now, but as soon as he drops the Death Door, it's gonna change back to the previous Death Blow resist. And this just has to feel quite bad for Serge at the moment, because how is he gonna deal with those 2 ripostes? He just can't. He just can't deal with those 2 ripostes. Even if they're not doing too much damage right now, they are doing a slight amount of damage, and that Grave Robber is just happy in the back, absolutely happy. She just happy to be spamming Panic Darts 7 rounds in a row. Yeah, that Grave Robber just destroyed Serge's team, honestly. The Man-at-Arms and the Abomination just acting as a very big deterrent from any damage actually occurring. Oh, that Abomination is almost gone. He's almost gone though. Also, how is that Man-at-Arms still not afflicted? That is kind of insane, because of his buffs, right? He's been getting quite lucky with those buffs. Are we gonna see? Oh, we're gonna see a slam here. Obviously, the Abomination's riposte is short-lived, so it only lasts 1 round. So he needs to keep spamming it if he wants to actually have it keep its effect. And that Grave Robber is gonna be dropping to position 2. Like, not all is over, actually. Not all is over. Of course, Serge still has the Flagellant, and Scylaac doesn't, so that's quite good. Unfortunately for Serge, Scylaac does not have the worst characters in terms of trying to kill a Flagellant. It would be quite a lot different if that Abomination was in position 1 and the Man-at-Arms was just spamming Bellow and this Grave Robber kind of like didn't exist. Oh, she's getting close to not existing. That is a very good punish. That was like a 40% chance to hit and a 50% chance of getting the bleed. That is very good. That is very good that happened, actually. How many heals does this Flagellant still have? I believe he's used 1 Exsanguinate and maybe 1 Redeem as well. Does he still have 3 heals total? Serge might just be able to take this with the heals from his Flagellant, honestly. I mean, he is gonna have that accuracy problem, which we like to call the Snuff, but that's gonna be a Manacles coming through, very likely to stun. Actually, probably a confirmed chance to stun. And I wonder what this Man-at-Arms is gonna do right now. Just gonna drop a Defender. Does he still manage to keep that riposte? Oh, he doesn't. He doesn't keep that riposte. This is Serge's window to actually get a nice bleed going on that Man-at-Arms. Also keep in mind that Scylaac has no more healing, so no, whatever damage Serge applies, it's gonna get applied. And that is a crit. Does he get the bleed? He gets the bleed even against the Rancid Cure roll. That is very good. That is gonna be a Fearful Man-at-Arms. Fearful is 10 dodge, so that is probably not the affliction that Sergi was looking for. He was probably hoping for something like Abusive, potentially stunning one of Scylac's own characters and maybe doing a bit of stress as well. So not the perfect outcome. That Man-at-Arms sitting at 25 dodge. Oh, that is a pass. That is a pass. That is very good. That is very good. Can you actually imagine that Sergi actually takes this W? Is that actually possible? Oh, Fearful Grave Robber not having an act out. You know, Sergi just needs to pray for as many act outs as possible right now. From the enemy team, of course, not his own act outs, right? You know what would be just great for Sergi? If... oh, that's gonna be bad. That's gonna be bad. So that's gonna be a heart attack onto that Abomination. If that Retribution kills him right now, this is horrendous. Yeah, that would be really bad. Oh, it's a dodge! It's a dodge! Oh my goodness, it's actually a dodge. What does he decide to do with the Abomination? This is such a crucial turn. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. He decided to go for a slam right there. It does break the guard. It does break the guard, even though the debuff wasn't applied. So that's the thing, but he could have just de-transformed, gone for it. Oh! Oh! That's really good. That's actually really good. You know what that means? That means that potentially... what is his final one gonna do? Just drop a redeem? Oh my goodness! The act-outs! The act-outs are insanely good for Sergi right now. Because now he can go for a Beast Smile whenever he has the opportunity of picking his Abomination again. Like, start of next round, just click, go Beast Smile. That is insane. That Grave Robber is kind of dropping to 0 HP as well, isn't she? Oh, that is going to be a Manacles though, so Scylaac making use of his stuns right now. That Grave Robber... oh, she moves back with the Fearful. Ah, no. I am sorry, Sergi. That is quite bad. That is quite bad. It looks like this might not be turning out so good. She actually decides to go Toxin Trickery, giving her even more dodge. So this just feels very poor for Abomination. Just going for that slam and failing. Again, Wretch's Cloak gives you 10 accuracy, and the Shattered Padlock gives you nothing. It gives you like melee skills stuff. You know, a bit of crit, a bit of bleed applied when you do melee skills, but it gives you no accuracy, and it only gives you 15% move chance. So that's gonna be that Abomination dropping to Death's Door. Also, keep in mind that this Abomination is also gonna take extra stress once he acts. So just a Beast Smile right now, and then the stress from transformation is gonna be enough to... oh, it would be enough to kill this this Abomination, but not like this. That's gonna be another Retribution coming through. 25 does not work. Oh, Scylaac, what do you go for? The thing is, right now, if he goes Absolution, he stays alive, right? If he goes Absolution, he stays alive for a lot longer, because he's already had a heart attack, so he's gonna take less stress. But if he goes Beast Smile, he might kill that Abomination, but he has to survive the... oh, he kills him. He kills him. He actually kills him. Does not get the Blight on the Man-at-Arms, but it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. So yeah, this Abomination is just gonna be gone now. Very likely, you know, between... is it actually gonna need a Panic Darts to get this Abomination gone? Oh, this is gonna be... this is too close. Yeah, it's actually gonna be needed a Panic Darts, so it actually gets the 40% death blow. So now, the Flashpoint has an extra 10 accuracy from being last, but that snuff, the snuff. It feels horrible. You know, if I was this Flagellant, I would not punish right now. I would just move back. I mean, that's doing a bit of extra stress. He's gonna suffer for that. I'm telling you, he's gonna suffer for that. He decided not to move back, not to take that extra stress, but between a few Panic Dart crits, he might actually be a bit closer to a heart attack because of that 4 stress. That was completely unnecessary, taking that. But Scylaac here is just gonna go for another defender, keeping that grave robber alive and well, and now he can go for death blows. He does still have does he still have 2 exsanguinates? Does he actually still have 2 exsanguinates? That is absolutely wild if he still does. Honestly, both characters are fearful, so both of them have a chance of passing, a 12% chance I believe. That is going to be a panic darts being dropped, so a reasonable amount of stress being added on as well. Now this Flash just needs to get these death blows. He really needs to get these death blows right now. Okay, it's going to be a retribution. Hasn't this Flash already taken like 3 Death's Door checks? That is quite bad actually. That is quite bad if he's already taken like 3 Death's Door checks. He has to get this kill. He has to. Oh no. Oh, is he gonna close his eyes and go for it? I wouldn't. I would go punish. I would honestly go punish. Is he gonna go punish? He needs to choose. But the thing is, he goes punish, but he doesn't do enough. So he's probably just gonna be gone right now. Yeah, there's gonna be a 55 and a 70. So he's probably just gonna be gone right now. Should have he gone exsanguinate? Maybe he would have lived. Maybe he would have lived if he would have hit. You know, this Man at Arms could do 0 damage. He could do 0 damage. Oh, he gets the crit and gets the death blow because the crit ups his damage just enough. He was fearful. He was doing minus 25% damage. Oh, that was too close.